Hi, my name is Harshika, and I was a volunteer at the Jaipur ABV project in Apex Hospital and Karpati Nagar slum. I was part of the medical project and served as an EAMT for about 14 days this past winter. This is my video testimonial for ABV. So the first question that is written is, how was the local ABV coordinator and staff support provided in country? It was absolutely amazing. The coordinator was very kind and caring. He made sure that every need I had was fulfilled and made sure I got to and from the site very safely. Um, he also introduced me to nuances within the culture of India and taught me many new things that I did not know prior to my trip. So, what was the most surprising thing that you experienced? I was very surprised by the ER I worked in the Apex Hospital. The ERs I work in here in the States are very different because they are staffed more and have more resources. But the pro side of this was that the challenge of providing high quality healthcare with a limited amount of resources was a great mind and practical exercise for me that I was able to really work on while I was at the hospital. I was also very pleasantly surprised by how kind and generous the local people were. Despite the fact that they did not have much to eat or much money, they always were very welcoming and kind and invited me to dinner and would, on the last day of my trip, gifted me these beautiful puppets. So I was very, very surprised pleasantly by the culture and the people of the country. So the most challenging thing that I experienced, as I mentioned in my previous response, was that there were very few resources and very few staff serving a large population and a wide variety of problems. I learned how to adapt and innovate to use these limited amount of resources in order to provide that good healthcare and help fix the problems that we could for the patients. For example, there was like a 5-lead EKG in the ER, and we needed to take 12 lead measurements. So I learned that instead of using stickers, which would be costly for the patients and the hospitals, we would use a suction cup on the ECG lead, on the fifth lead, and rotate through the rest of the sites on the chest to get the accurate measurements we needed for that would have normally been provided by a 12 lead. So, any future tips for volunteers? I would suggest that you're not in America, you're in a different country, no matter what project you're doing as part of ABV, you're in a different country, so it's important to be ready to adapt. Don't try to live a United States lifestyle within this other country because that's not possible. You are in a different country and you'll have to learn how to appreciate the culture. And if you do that, you'll have a very positive experience. People are always very nice in India and accepting and want to help you out. So if you try to be respectful of their culture, be kind to people there, and really try to have an open mind, you'll leave having a very positive experience. Another thing that I would suggest is that if you do know the language, like I was fortunate enough to know the language that the local people spoke, don't be afraid to use it because they will really appreciate you trying to take that extra step to connect to them. The patients will tell you more about their medical history and personal problems that can help you give them a better experience in the hospital and help treat them more effectively. Another thing is that if you do try to speak the language, the local population will do everything they can to make sure that you have the best experience possible. Even if you don't speak the language, people are always very kind and try to give you the best experience. But if you can, make an effort and try to involve yourself and immerse yourself in the culture. So, my experience in ABV in Jaipur was absolutely phenomenal. I don't think I will ever forget this experience, and I know that after becoming a physician, I am currently an EMT. After becoming a physician and completing my medical school education, I know definitely that I want to spend some time in different parts of the world serving people, just as I did with the ABV program, and doing this project just solidified that experience for me and really encourages me to do this in the future as well. My favorite memory of the trip was definitely going to a local slum school and doing health checkups at the school. The kids were very, very, very respectful. The school didn't have proper walls or insulation like we have during the winters here in the United States, but yet these kids were there and ready to learn and enthusiastic and happy, and that was just so inspiring to see. Most of these children were underweight because of their situation, but they were always so pleasant and respectful and such pleasing personalities that I was amazed to see, and how these kids survive and how they are working to improve their own futures. And that's just something that is so motivating and inspiring to see, and it really helps us realize our blessings that we have here in the States. I also noticed that these kids were eating very healthy lunches. I had traveled in India prior to this as well, and I saw that middle class and upper class children were often eating things like biscuits and Maggie and different types of savory snacks, and they would substitute that heavily within their lunches. But while I was at the school, I noticed that these kids were eating simple roti and simple vegetables with the roti, and that was great to see that they were still being healthful despite of their financial conditions. I wish that I would have had more time to visit the other schools because it was truly a inspiring experience. So, aside from that, I just want to say that I really appreciated this opportunity. Thank you, ABV, for giving me the opportunity to come and explore India, my homeland, in a different manner. I'm grateful for my coordinator who really, really took great care of me while I was in the country. I don't think I'll ever forget the relationships and the people I met during this trip. Um, Aside from that, thank you so much, and I look forward to doing another trip sometime. Thank you.